here's Brody Brazil.
Hey, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this series, 2023 A's Player Profiles. I'm happy you're here and I'm excited this time around to talk about Seth Brown. That's right, Brownie as some of you might call him, or Sarge, as Bip Roberts calls him on pre- and post-game live. I still don't know why, if there was an incident or a background or a story or something, but I'll tell you this, I agree. He does seem like a Sarge to me. Sergeant Seth Brown was a pretty good year for him in 2022. Kind of came on at the end. We'll discuss his last season in just a second, but first let's begin with the big picture basics on Brownie. 2023 opening day, he'll be 30 years old. He comes in with 2 years, 104 days of Major League service time. And yeah, last season was really his first full go-around of Major League Baseball. He played 150 games for Oakland last year, which is interesting because the prior 3 seasons combined, he had only played 144 games, used in small doses here and there. Obviously, with so much transition and departure in Oakland, there was that opportunity for Brownie last season. But I want to go actually back all the way to 2015. He was a 19th round draft pick by the A's. I love stories like this. I'm not exactly sure that a 19th rounder is supposed to make it to Major League Baseball within, 5 years, basically, as Seth Brown did. So I love that kind of background, love that story, and he's just an endearing type guy. I don't know if it's the smile he plays the game with, or the lightheartedness, or he's a good interview. I'm just a big fan of Seth Brown, and it's good for Oakland that he is under team control. He's arbitration eligible through the 2026 season, so we've only really seen the tip of the iceberg with Seth Brown. Let's go back and look at last season for him. Again, his 4th big league season overall, but the first one where he was an everyday player. Hit .230, hit 25 homers. Most of those came in the second half, which we'll discuss. 73 RBI in those 150 games played. Now, he started 132 games, but a high majority of those, 114, were against right-handed opposition starters. The A's love that lefty-righty matchup with him, and obviously he thrives in it. More on that in just a second. Well, actually, right now, he hit .243 against right-handed pitching. 22 of those 25 homers, against right-handed pitching, and 61 of his 73 RBI against righties. That's a lot of the damage right there against righties. But how about against the southpaws? Only a .174 average, only those 3 homers, and only those 12 RBI. Smaller sample size, yes. I don't want to make it seem like he played evenly. He played a lot against righties, and that's where he capitalized. 17 of Brownie's 25 dingers came on the road. And that's not far-fetched. Do you understand that? The Coliseum's not necessarily a hitter's park by any means. I mean, you do see it happen day games, weekends. The ball can fly in Oakland, but certainly heavier air, night games, maybe not so much. But 17 of his 25 homers came on the road. Also this, he just hits better in the daylight. .269 average in natural sun. He hits a .198, at least he did last year, under the artificial lights of night games. Interesting splits, right? And I kind of handpicked these. Some of them seem like they tell stories. But here's the story for you. His second half last year, despite how things started, he hit .249 in the second half. 15 of those 25 homers came after the All-Star break. He drove in 35 runs after the Midsummer Classic. I also love this stat, and it's a small sample size, and maybe we're reading too much into this, but he hit .340 in 8th inning at-bats last year. To me, clutch. When you need the guy to come through, there's just something about Seth Brown that just reeks ball player, and a ball player you want on your team. There's also this, 11 of those 25 homers came in a 2-strike count, right? Just when he's supposed to see the put-away pitch, just when he's up against it, can't make any more mistakes in the at-bat, 11 of his 25 dingers came with 2 strikes. So, hey, great to work the count. Great to know you can always leave the yard no matter what the count is. I also want to make this last point here about his last season, versatility defensively. You would expect him to play first base, right? That was the opportunity that opened up after the departure of Matt Olson, but he actually made 72 starts there. He also made 25 starts in right field. We'd kind of seen that tandem, right side, first base and right field. but he also played 18 games, 18 starts in left. He made 15 starts in center field as Laureano went through some more injuries and Christian Pache was in the minors, and he also DH'd twice. So I love the fact that last year, Brownie kind of expanded his versatility, not just playing first and right, but also some left and center field. Good for him. I know that bodes well for opportunities and helps the team out. Maybe it would help him to settle in on a specific position. We'll dive into that now as we preview his 2023. I would imagine that Seth Brown is going to hit in the heart of the order. And I was hoping last year, quite honestly, for a 30-dinger season. I just felt like that was a possibility. He only ended up 5 short. And if you revisit the first half of the season pre-All-Star break, that's obviously the part that cost him. So if he can keep up that second half pace of last year, yeah, I do think he can get to 30 homers in 2023. I'm also hoping that he can ditch some of the splits, right? If you want to be an everyday player, you're going to have to go up against lefty starters just like righty starters. And certainly the A's might favor the righty pitcher, the lefty bat matchup for him. But if you can perform well against what the splits are suggesting from last year, they're going to find a way. Mark Kotze is going to find a way to keep you in the order. Versatility versus an everyday role. And I kind of alluded to that earlier. Yeah, it's great. You can play some left and you can play some center. I just hope the A's are in a position where they don't need that as much from Brownie. Focus in on just 2 positions defensively. Maybe it's first, or maybe he's a corner outfielder this year, and that's it. And that's fine too. But maybe try and hone in on some specific defensive positions for him so that he's a guy that knows he'll be in the lineup. He knows where he'll be hitting. He knows where he'll be playing in the field. I feel like that would serve him well for success in this upcoming season. And then lastly, I hope he stays clutch. Those 2-strike homers, those 8th inning at-bats, for whatever it means. I just feel like if the A's are tied in the bottom of the 9th, I hope Seth Brown is one of the batters that's due up. That is definitely something about him. So Brownie, Sarge, whatever you want to call him, I enjoy him. I'm glad he's back for 2023. If you like this video, thumbs up on it. I'd really appreciate that. And also, hey, subscribe to this channel. If you're new here, I do a ton of A's and Sharks stuff, and we will continue this series on the 2023 Player Profiles.